That's kind of a great segue into this next discussion. Let's bring in Al Gatulo from 970 The Answer. Also has a 11 p.m. Sunday craft beer cast. He joins us on the Bobby B Sports Tech Hotline. What do you think about a guy who breaks news on his buddy's radio station constantly and just absolutely throws the sports world into a tizzy? Like, I like this version of what somebody said, Aaron Rodgers.
Aw.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Guys, I don't know if it's necessarily Aaron Rodgers. He's controlling the narrative. And so I think that's, in some ways, I think you have to look at reports from other reporters like an Adam Schefter, who I love, or a Diana Rossini. And, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, take it with a grain of salt. He basically disparaged both of them and basically said to Schefter, lose my number. You got it wrong. And, he refuted Diana's claims that, he handed the Jets with a wish list of receivers to sign. So you have to take it from the athlete at face value. I don't like the whole, I don't like going on some guy's show and just saying, all right, here's where I'm going to break the news. It sort of reminds me of the whole LeBron decision thing of where he's going, but I get it. He wants to control, where he's going. And look, anybody who thought he wasn't going to the Jets, I think it's just crazy. The Packers didn't want him anymore. They made it clear last season that they were done with this guy. So the Jets are really the only option at this point. So kudos to him if he's got to take control of everything.
I always understand the list of receivers that a quarterback wants to bring with them, but the one thing I always scratch my head on is why isn't there a left tackle that's involved with this grocery list? Right. And they may need one there in New York. I know the defense is great. I know the young rookies are all playing well, and if this offense goes the way that everybody thinks it is, it's going to be great. But can they protect Aaron Rodgers with that offensive line that they're working with?
Well, right now, if they had to put that offensive line on the field, no. Mekhi Becton is really the key here. Right. Before he went down, he was playing well and, had to get some surgery done. He's the key here. You can plug him in a couple of different spots, and he needs to be healthy. If he's healthy, then I think they have a shot. Obviously, this is an area in need, and Joe Douglas has got to figure it out. They have some issues with other guys. You've got Brown, who underwent surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff. But does he want to play a 17th season? Who knows? That's a tough grind. So, the Jets are going to have problems on that offensive line. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have went all in and put his chips in the middle of the table if the Jets didn't reassure him that, we're going to get people around you to protect you. Because let's face it, Aaron Rodgers has a year or two left. If he's on his fanny the first 5-6 games of the Jets season and not winning games, I could easily see him saying, what did I come out of the darkness for this? I mean, it's ridiculous. And by the way, the whole I came out of the darkness and then I saw light, is this a Charlie Murphy story? Are we going back to the Chappelle show? What's going on here?
No, well said. Well said. Well, that's where I was trying to go. I mean, this guy is all about himself. And whether or not he gave a wish list or not, I know we had this conversation a few weeks ago that you would prefer, and I think the fans would prefer Derek Carr, more stable, that he'd be their younger version and he'd be there for a few years. I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're talking to the front office of the Jets, are you giving any reassurances that I'm going to stay a couple of years and I'm not going to pull this crap on you in 12 months?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think that's why they went to go meet with Aaron Rodgers to say, look, what is the deal here? If you're not going to retire and you're going to play with us, are you going to stick to 2 years? Because that really is the sticking point here, right? So they're trying to figure out the compensation package for the Packers. But the bottom line is, are you staying for 2 years? Because the Jets have basically, like I said, like Aaron Rodgers did. They put his chips in the middle of the table, and here's the guy we're riding with, and we're going for a Super Bowl. If not next season, then the following season. We're going to try and win it with this guy in the next 2 years. Now, they tried that with Brett Favre a long time ago, and it didn't work out. And Favre still had some moxie, but was very much at the end or close to the end of his career. I think Aaron still has some of that it factor that you just can't get anywhere else. It's a tough division. I think the Jets have now put themselves in that mix for that division. But, again, this is one of those gambles where if the Jets don't win it, now what? And for a team that hasn't won the Super Bowl or has gotten a sniff of, deep in the playoffs or has gotten back to a Super Bowl since the late 60s, I can understand why they're doing this.
What did you think about the move of getting tight end Darren Waller over there for the New York Giants?
Love it. And if he stays healthy, it's a great move. I mean, look, they essentially traded Tony to get Waller, if you look at it.
Yeah.
Tony in the third pick, that pick goes to the Raiders. I'm happy with this deal. If this guy stays on the field and plays well and doesn't get injured, that is a perfect target for Daniel Jones. It's another safety valve. It's Saquon, and then you have Waller, and then you have other guys. So that's a great weapon to build on, and all you had to give up was a third-round pick. Now, obviously, his salary, he's under contract for the next 4 seasons, but he stays on that field 2 out of those 4 seasons, 3 out of those 4 seasons. It's a win-win deal.
Can the New York Liberty trade for his wife, Kelsey Plum?
Oh, man, that's a great point.
You know what?
She's upset because, I mean, they just got married, and then he gets traded to New York, so... could she ask for a trade, I guess? And I'm being absolutely 100% serious.
Or the son. We're right next door.
We're right next door.
Right next door, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I mean, listen, does he want to commute? Does he want to have a long-distance relationship? I don't know. So we'll see. They got time for that.
I love it. I love the whole drama.
Where does this put the Jets now with this trade in the AFC East hierarchy?
Well, I think it puts them right in the pack, right in the hunt. I mean, look, the Patriots just signed Schuster-Smith to a couple-year deal. So obviously, Bill is making moves and getting things happening. So the Patriots are going to be a force. The Bills, that's the question mark. Is Bills Mafia over? Is the Bills playoff run sort of done? I don't know. They've sort of fizzled out these last 2 seasons. So I don't know. Do they have it in them for a third time? I think they do. I think you have to consider Miami being in the mix. They put, again, they're another one that put their chips all in the middle. Tua is our guy next year. We don't care. He's the dude. So this is going to be a very competitive division. I think you will see this. I think that one of those 4 is going to drop off very quickly at the start of September. I don't think all 4 of them are going to come out, guns firing and, everybody's a success. And I think if you had to pick the one team out of that 4, I would say it's Miami. I think, the concussions with Tua is a question mark for me. I don't know if he really should still be playing, and I'm sure he's going to go through all the concussion protocol and all the other stuff. But if I had to pick one of those teams right now that I think was going to fall out in September very early, I would say Miami. So the Jets are certainly in the mix there.
Al Gatulo from 970 The Answer in New York. Tell me about the Knicks and Emmanuel quickly. Great game against Portland. A really good game against the Clippers in a loss and a victory in double overtime against the Celtics. He put up 38 while Brunson was on the bench. Can this guy be more consistent and become the star we thought he was?
Yeah, I think he can, and I like the way that the Knicks finished the road trip, getting a win against the Trailblazers. They're off till Saturday. They'll kind of rest up a little bit. 5th in the Eastern Conference. I think they're sort of in control here. The Nets are right behind them, but the Nets are still, I believe it's a couple of games. What is it, 1 or 2 games?
Yeah, it's two games in the win column.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, I think the Knicks are clearly in control here, 7-3 in their last 10. I don't have an issue with this. The problem I have with the Knicks is finishing strong here. So this is where you've got to kind of, the last couple of weeks of the season, start picking it up. I think they're going to be okay.
In a weird way, I'm really interested in this Kings-Nets game tonight. Never thought I'd say that, but Kings-Brooklyn Nets, big game tonight. Or is it tomorrow? Tomorrow's game. I wanted to talk to you about Rick Pitino. He might be coming to the Big Apple and be coaching that St. John's team. What will that do to the city to have Pitino coaching one of those college teams in the mix?
Well, I think it puts St. John's right. I mean, St. John's has always been the sort of college basketball team of the city. I know Seton Hall has stolen a little bit of the thunder, but they play at Prudential Center. It's for them, it's a great place to play, and they've been in the tournament a number of times. I think with St. John's, Pitino really puts them in a position where they're back again, and Pitino will do things to make sure that this team is in prominence. And I like the way St. John's has played the last couple of seasons. They've just had some tough breaks. So, yeah, I think Pitino puts them in a, is it the Louis Carnesecca teams, of the 80s? Maybe not, but I think Pitino certainly gives them a little bit more luster.
Tell me about Hal Steinbrenner and his best friend, Aaron Judge, and now asking him about business decisions on the team.
Listen, you pay that guy that much money, I think he has to have some influence, and I think Hal wants to kind of, say, look, you're a Yankee for life, and we want to get some advice from you. I'm sure they picked Jeter's brain Jeter would never, Derek would never talk about it, but I'm sure that they picked his brain back when he was a player. I think Cal's doing the right thing here to kind of buddy up to him. Look, the Yankees. Again, the mantra is every season we're going out to win a championship. We're not going just to be there. We're going to win. So I don't have a problem with them being chummy. If Judge gets off to a slow start and he's not hitting the bombs the way he is, maybe Hal's not taking his calls. So we'll see.
One of the questions asked was who should play shortstop, Aaron Judge, and he gave his blessings to Volpe. What do you think about a shortstop at that team and who will be starting opening day?
I don't really have a take on who's going to start opening day. I mean, it'll be, obviously they have a book. They go by the book. Whoever is the best guy in that spot is going to play for this team. I'm not crazy about that. I'd rather have a manager who manages with his gut like Buck Showalter and not have to deal with a book. So I guess we'll see what happens. Again, for me, for the Yankees, it's always, okay, April. Sometimes they start out slow. Sometimes they start out hot. It's September and October that you got to worry about. And if the Yankees are firing on all cylinders at the end of the season, it really doesn't matter who's playing it short.
Tell me about the life and death of Joe Pepitone, legendary Yankee, just passed away at 82. I met him a few times. He was quite the character.
Yeah, Pepitone was certainly quite the character. He was always flamboyant, always had something smart to say. He was always a funny guy, always had a quick quip for people. Even during like Old Timers Day, he would just be the guy who was always joking around. I mean, people forget because obviously he played in the '60s. He never won a World Series for the Yankees. He wasn't on the World Series roster on the team that won. I think it was 61 or 62. And then the other two teams that he was on, they lost. So he never got a World Series championship. But he was Joe Namath before Joe Namath. He was the guy who brought the hairdryer into the locker room the first time. People were looking at him like, "What are you doing? A hairdryer? What?"
Dude, he had some hair, man.
He did, and he kept it for most of his life. So that was pretty good. But Pepitone was certainly one of those guys in the years that the Yankees weren't winning championships, and it was sort of those lean years. He was the guy that was sort of that shining star of the team.
I'm going to sneak a hockey question in. I've been trying to give the Boston Bruins fans a bunch of fear in their lives because it feels like they're just going to run away with the Stanley Cup this season. I'm a Caniac, so I've been throwing Carolina at them. I try throwing Rangers and Islanders, but I saw this Rangers game not too long ago where the Bruins had no trouble whatsoever. New Jersey and that Jack Hughes, man, they started out really hot. Then they had like an 8-game losing streak, and now they're back. Is that a team that I can scare Boston Bruins fans with?
I would certainly say that. I think out of the three locals, I think the Devils are the ones that you really have to look out for. The Islanders have started to pick it up. The trades that Lou made, I thought, were great at the trading deadline. I don't know if it's too little too late. Maybe they catch lightning in a bottle and they sort of have that run in the playoffs. That's the great thing about the hockey playoffs. You could be playing sort of mediocre as you get down this, when you're in December and January. But if you start to get hot at the end of February, beginning of March, and you roll into the playoffs as a hot team, that can carry you very, very far. We've seen a lot of teams do that with the Devils. They just keep winning and winning and winning. They just, they get a 3-game winning streak, they lose one. They pick a 4-game winning streak, they lose one.
Right.
They seem to know when it's the right time to turn it on. That's the team out of the three that I would watch in the playoffs. I think the Devils can do some serious damage.
Al, as always, you add so much to our show. Thank you, man. God bless you for being on today again.
You got it, guys. Have a good one.
Check out his Craft Beer Cast, 11 p.m. on 970 The Answer out of New York. We'll take a quick break. More from the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Kurt Kaplan on the ones and twos. We'll be right back.